It's the 30th of June and I'm Tom Glasson. Welcome to The Roast. Now, by this stage, most of you would have heard that NRL player Todd Carney was sacked by the Cronulla Sharks for urinating in his own mouth. But before we get all judgy, there is a chance he could have just been marking his territory. And now all of us know, without a doubt, his mouth is his territory. Of course, this isn't Todd Carney's first urination incident. In 2008, he was sacked from the Canberra Raiders for urinating on a patron in a Canberra nightclub. So since this time he did it in his own face, well, as far as Todd Carney urination scandals go, he's definitely improving. That's coming up along with our first instalment of Senate Week. But before that, here is Mark Humphries with the headlines.
There are reports that 2 asylum seeker boats have been intercepted off Christmas Island. In the face of such drama, our Immigration Minister has moved swiftly to reassure Australians.
Immigration Minister Morrison won't comment on boat claims.
Scott Morrison won't comment. Hard to believe we've found someone who says fewer words than Hodor. Refugee advocates believe the passengers have been transferred to the customs vessel Ocean Protector. As for customs vessel People Protector, we have assurances that no such vessel exists. Immigration Minister Scott Morrison, seen here carrying out Operation Open Collar, was his usual open self with regard to the reported interception of the boats.
If there was a significant event happening, then I would be reporting on it.
So what does that mean? If the boat actually sinks, you'll tell us?
You're a bright journalist. I'm sure you can work it out.
No, we're asking.
The member for Cook there, acting like the member for condescension. But apparently that journalist wasn't very bright because she kept trying to get straight answers from a government minister.
At what point does an event become a significant event involving a boat on the water?
When you see me here standing and reporting on it.
Yes, he'll only report on significant events, like arbitrary milestones that are really just an excuse for the government to high-five itself.
Today, we do pass this important milestone of 6 months without a successful people smuggling venture to Australia.
And he went on to discuss that significant event with Australia's brightest journalist, Andrew Bolt.
It's 6 months this week since the last boat arrived. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Scott. If Environment Minister Greg Hunt is anything to go by, there's a group hug with your name on it. But it wasn't all congratulations for Morrison. Some news outlets chose not to report on the government's backslapping.
I couldn't find one single report on the ABC News site on the day that you made that landmark that acknowledged this fact. Are you concerned by the ABC's reporting?
There was very little, if any, coverage, certainly on the website that day, from the ABC or Fairfax for that matter.
The ABC didn't report about asylum seekers. Who do they think they are? The Immigration Minister? But if the government thinks no arrivals in 6 months is a significant event, then surely 2 arrivals breaking that streak is huge. But when you can't get an answer out of the Immigration Minister, those bright journalists go one further up the chain to the man with all the answers.
There's reports of an asylum seeker boat off Christmas Island. Will the Australian government be sending any assistance to that vessel?
Well, we will be doing what we normally do in respect of Operation Sovereign Borders.
Which is what?
Yep, that's what they normally do. For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Thank you, Mark. Well, today we farewell our outgoing senators before the new senators are sworn in tomorrow. And just like high school, those incomers can expect 6 years of hard work, petty fighting and $200,000 annual salaries. It's a pretty fancy high school. They can also expect to find the entire Senate to be defaced and the mascot from New Zealand's Parliament running around on the front lawns. And on such an auspicious occasion for Australian democracy, we're going to take this opportunity to celebrate all things upper house in an exciting new segment that we're calling Senate Week.
Senate Week.
But before we launch headfirst into the shallow waters that is Senate Week, let's find out what's the deal with the whole Senate thing.
So how about all those senators entering the Senate this week?
Yeah, how about that? Do you actually know anything about...
No.
Your guide to pretending you know about the Senate. So, what happens when Parliament passes a bill?
It becomes a law?
Wrong, you charming small-eyed idiot. No, when a bill is passed through the lower house, it goes to the Senate. Having no Senate would be like having no bouncers at a nightclub.
Yikes! So do you have to, pass an exam to get in the Senate?
Absolutely not. The Senate reflects how the country as a whole voted, except when preference deals get you in with a record low 0.51% of the vote.
That's hardly any percent.
Welcome to the Senate. And if you don't like the government's proposed laws, you can block it. So the government is going to have to learn to be the world's best negotiators, because with poll numbers like these, they're not going to call an election anytime soon. Because if they do, who knows what crazies we could end up with? Australian Murdering Enthusiasts Party?
No way.
Not for another 3 years anyway.
Oh.
Thanks very much, little animated dudes. So now you know more about how the Senate works than at least some of the incoming senators.
Do you understand what balance of power means?
Yes. It's the potential if...
Although, to be fair to Ricky Muir, it isn't that easy to speak coherently. I would be completely lost without my auto cue. We'll be right back.
Are you an incoming senator? Are you confident you know what you're doing? Or are you absolutely terrified? Are you trying to learn how the Senate works by watching The Roast? We'd love to hear about it. At The Roast TV or hashtag Roast TV.
Finally tonight, Cronulla Sharks star player Todd Carney has been sacked by the club after a lewd image of him surfaced on social media. It makes Todd Carney the first victim of a shark cull where it was the Sharks' fault. So, on a scale of 1 to blue waffle, how gross was this image?
The image shows Carney in the toilets of Sutherland Shire nightclub Northies urinating into his own mouth, an act known as bubbling or gargoyling.
Finally, we know why gargoyles are always hunched over. Now, obviously, we can't show you the Todd Carney photo because this is a PG show and the P in PG, disappointingly, does not stand for P. But I do believe we have video of the incident. Now, Carney, pictured here with what I hope to God is water, has been sacked by 3 different clubs, and with a history of off-field problems and scandals plaguing the gifted athlete,
it appears it was only a matter of time for the 28-year-old.
Because as the saying goes, sooner or later everyone pisses in their own mouth. But to be fair to the code, the NRL's Chief Operating Officer points out Carney isn't representative of all players.
The overwhelming majority of NRL players are great role models who do such good work on and off the field.
Yeah, you only have to look at all the players not pissing into their own mouths to see that. Some of Carney's peers have leapt to his defence, including Super League player Mitch Achurch, who tweeted,
"The NRL needs to be investigating who took that photo of Todd Carney and have him sacked too if he plays rugby league. Mates ruining mates' careers."
Yeah, sack that guy. Because not only should mates not ruin mates' careers, mates should never let their mates piss in their own mouths. And also backing Carney was Dragons forward Joel Thompson.
Whoever leaked that photo of Toddy is nothing but a dog. Can't even have a joke in the privacy of a toilet. Hashtag feel for him.
In the privacy of a public toilet. Because it's a classic joke. Carney's urine-filled penis is the setup and his mouth is the punchline. But with several other players coming to the defence of someone who's already been sacked multiple times for drunken incidences, is the problem not so much a 28-year-old pissing into his own mouth as it is a culture amongst players of thinking this is an acceptable thing to do between mates. To find out, let's see what they're talking about on the Roast's own NRL footy show, Roast Balls.
The doggies gave it 110% last night.
But at the end of the day, the boys just didn't give it 120%.
Yeah. Now, boys, we've spoken about the game of rugby league for 8 seconds, which means, as always, it's already time to devote the rest of the show to explaining why the most recent of many NRL scandals is just an isolated incident.
A little shush, boys. We're joined now by the CEO of the NRL, the Big Banana.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Now, I've had my head in the sand this week. You got to tell me, Banana, who's done what this week?
Well, I'm sad to say that scandal has again rocked the NRL, setting a terrible example for all the young kids who play our great game.
Oh no, Billy Slater got another punch-up.
Or did Greg Bird glass someone again?
Did Joel Monahan, make it third base with that dog?
No, Todd Carney has...
not Toddy!
...has urinated into his own mouth and he's had to be sacked.
Whoa. Now, those other guys are all still playing. Why'd Toddy get shafted? He didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah, and Toddy didn't urinate on someone else's head like he did in 2008.
Yeah, we can all agree that crossed a line.
Yeah, and a stream. No, but jokes aside, seriously, the man pissed into his own mouth. A man does own his own mouth. Last I checked, this is Australia.
All right, hang on, I think I understand this, boys. This is a problem because it went public, right?
No, this is a problem because no other sports need to have conversations about whether pissing in your own mouth is acceptable conduct. Look, we're all ambassadors for this sport. We have to save this great game.
Yeah, he's right.
Mate, we will be a force for change.
Yeah, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Snicko!
I'm never gonna taste my piss.
See, this is part of the
Bring
problem.
back the piss!
Oh, mate, it's just mates, mate.
Yeah, I guess some mates have a joke in the privacy of their own TV show.
Yeah, mates, don't let mates get thirsty, mate.
Bring back the piss!
Say what you like about roast balls, I have always been impressed by their ability to condemn and advocate for controversial issues in the same sentence. But at the end of the day, if you take a photo of a guy pissing in his own mouth out of context, of course it's going to look bad. Though I'm sure if we had a whole video of him pissing into his mouth, we'd realise all he was doing was making a really interesting comment on the culture of rugby league.
Nah, boys will be boys.
Oh yeah? Oh.
Yeah, good night. Yeah, take that, Whiz Glasson.